Not right now. Next time. Okay, you need a couple things. Here we go. All right, so a couple things. You need one. Thank you. One, a highlighter and a pencil or pen. Two, the worksheet. And then three, in a minute, you're gonna need a book. Remember, we only have a few of these, so it is also on Canvas. Hold on to your questions. I don't want them to be questions. No quiero las preguntas. Not right now, next week, okay? So either get a book or get out a Chromebook and go to Canvas for the book, okay? So do that. Either get a book or go to Canvas and show you what it is in Canvas.
Ahí tiene un lápiz que me quiere sacar. Libro. Lápiz. Un lápiz.
Okay, that's right here in Canvas. I have
Tiene
highlighted.
punta. ¿Quiere sacar punta?
Oh, page number.
También lo que están lacrando, güey. También lo que están lacrando, güey. Que grabaron, que la creaste, carnal.
Yes? No, not that one. El libro rojo. Rojo. There might not be a left, so you have to Canvas and go on Canvas. So if you have a book, si tienes un libro, página 685. 685. 685. If you don't have a book, si no tienes un libro,
What page?
it's in Canvas.
What page?
685. Okay? Here, there's one, there's two more. Two more. Two more. One more? Who needs one more? Here you go. Okay, so if you're using a book, it's 685. Okay, 685. If you're in Canvas, it's this one, a new kind of conflict.
Okay.
Okay? So, what we're gonna do? Okay, great. Great. New kind of conflict. Good. Great. Okay, so what we're going to do basically is we're going to do a little bit of reading, and then on the back, we are actually going to finish some sentences. Okay, so you'll see that there's a sentence starter. So it starts the sentence for you, and then you read in the book to finish the sentence, okay? So let's do the front page together. And everyone has the book?
No,
Okay, here we go. Yes, and then the circle.
hasta arriba. El no de Oh my gosh.
All right, here we go. So we're reading the front page first, here we go. And I'll do cards again. If you want to read, you can. If you don't, you can say skip. All right. So a new kind of conflict, that's the title. I'll read the first paragraph. Some have called World War I the Great War. More troops fought and died than ever before in history. Emmanuel, would you like to read the next paragraph?
No sé, miss.
¿Quieres leer?
No,
¿Sí o no?
thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Nicolas,
Huh?
¿quieres leer? Right here, heavy fighting?
Yeah.
Great.
Heavy fighting took place on the western front, a 600-mile stretch from the England Channel to Switzerland.
Yep, Switzerland.
The Germans hoped for an early victory here. However, French and British troops stopped them. For 4 years, neither side advanced.
Great. So there's a couple words in here I want to define that we may not know. So it says heavy fighting took place on the Western Front. What is a front? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what a front is?
Me estás fronteando.
Okay, so we're going to define it. So a front, so please go ahead and write this down, is basically a side, right? It's one side. So it's a side or a line between two sides. Okay? So a front is a side or a line between two different, I put sides, but I should say opposing groups. Okay? So when it says the Western Front, it's talking about a place in Europe, and on what each side were enemies. Okay? So it's basically a line, and on each side of the line are enemies.
What?
So like, for example, now let's see if we can look in our book. Oh, I'll tell you, remember when we talked about the Schlieffen Plan? When we did the acting up front? And we talked about how Germany, remember how Germany was in the middle? Right here, me. Me, pay attention to me. Okay. So remember how we talked about how Germany, on one side was Russia, and then on the other side was France? Remember this? And how they wanted to go and kick France's butt really quick so that they could go focus on Russia? It's because they wanted to avoid a two-front war. Meaning, they wanted to avoid war on both sides. Okay? Does that make sense? So basically a front is just a side. So the Western Front is on the west side, so it was between Germany and France. Okay? Chris, we're not on the phone back there, right? Okay. The Germans hoped for an early victory. Remember, they thought they were going to win early. However, French and British troops stopped them. For 4 years, neither side advanced. What does the word advanced mean? Huh? Yes, what does that mean though? Can someone explain that? Exactly, thank you. So neither side basically made progress. So they started fighting and then very little progress was made. Okay? Great. Let's see. Would you like to read? Oh no, he's not here. Josue, would you like to read next? We are right here at troops.
¿Dónde?
Troops dug trenches.
Troops whose trenches along the front. When they come out to fight, many were killed. Neither side won much
word trenches is a really important word. I can promise you this will be on our test. What is a trench?
¿Eh?
What is a trench?
Guapetón.
Gracias.
¿Qué es una trinchera, muchachos? Can we raise hands and go one at a time? What's a trench?
Trinchera.
Can you explain it to me? Yes, but what is it? So yeah, each side has the trench and it's a big what?
Big hole.
Hole in the ground, right? But can be really long, like miles and miles long. What did the soldiers do in the trenches?
They sleep.
They sleep there,
They live there.
they eat there, they fight there.
Un chico peón.
Good. Okay, so we know what a trench is. Basically a big hole in the ground. So trenches,
Thanksgiving.
I'm gonna say long, deep holes.
Tengo 3 viejas, güey.
Okay. Would you like to read Gael? No?
Es para leer.
No? Okay. Carla,
West side.
Papi.
¿quieres leer?
También tienes este
Aquí,
dicho
there was. No? Pamela, would you like to read? No. Kenneth? Kenneth, we're at there was.
There was also in Eastern part in Europe. One part ran from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. The other part ran between Italy, which joined the Allies.
Allies.
Allies
Mhm.
in 1915 and Austria.
Perfect. I'm just gonna highlight this one eastern front. We don't need to define it, but it's basically the eastern side, right? Okay. Jose, would you like to read? Right here at this. Okay, great.
This was a program to make use of modern technology and
Machinery.
machinery workbench through the
Skies, uh-huh.
sky submarine sailed under Brazil, machine guns, tanks, and poison gas made
Deadly, good. Yeah, and I'm highlighting modern technology because we are gonna have a quiz question about the new types of technology used. We're familiar, I believe, with planes. We know what planes are, yes?
Plano.
Aviones, no?
Oh.
Yeah. What's a submarine?
Marino.
Huh?
Marino.
Can you explain what that is?
It's like a boat, but you can go like in the water,
Yeah.
inside the water.
So you can go underwater,
Ándale.
and these, in this case, they were underwater warships, basically. But you're right, it's the same, an underwater boat is a submarine. Okay, good. Last paragraph, Shadi, would you like to read? No? Mark, would you like to read? No? Rogelio? World War I.
World War I, global traffic is everywhere. Worldwide, which are the powers of Europe working to their allies or soldier workers in the Middle East. Ottoman Empire joined Central Power. Japan allied to Britain. To German, China and Iceland in the Pacific. The United States will soon join the Battle of April.
Thank you. And can you guys tell me, we talked about this before, what's a colony? It's a group of people, tell me more. So remember from our imperialism unit, what is imperialism? Raising hands, can someone raise a hand? Andy? Great. So when a strong country takes over a weaker country, and usually why is this strong country so strong? It's because they are Industrialized. Do you remember that word? Industrialized. So a colony is what? It's a group of people or land that is under control of someone else, right? Yeah, so for example, here it's saying the colonies, that means Europe, because they were the strong countries for the most part. They took over other countries like in Africa and Asia, India is an example. The colonies fought with the country who took them over. Why do you think that would be? Why would I fight for someone who took over my country? Maybe I'd think what? What might I think? If I fight, let's say I'm India. If I fight for England, what might I get? What could I maybe ask England to give me? Or to maybe technology, but what else? Maybe some of my natural resources. Well, what do I want more than anything? Someone controls me. Yes! Right? Liberty, freedom. Right? So these colonies, many of them fought because they thought if they fought, they would become free later on. Okay? Okay. So we're not going to read this part because we've already talked about a lot of these technologies. But I'm going to put a star here because this is a good study guide, since you will have a test question on these technologies. Okay? All right, so now let's go to the back, and we're going to do one or two of these together, and then you're going to work on your own. Okay. So in your reading, we're going to, the first paragraph, it says, setting the scene. Okay? So right here, setting the scene. Do we see that? Setting the scene. Okay? Give me a thumbs up if you're at that section, either on the book, in the book, or the computer. Thumbs up if you're right here, setting the scene. Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Shadi. Carla. Give me a thumbs up if you're at that. Thank you, Andy. Okay, good. Thank you, Julissa. Great. Okay, so we're going to read and then we're going to finish the sentence. Let's first make sure we understand the first part of the sentence. So this says, the early enthusiasm for World War I soon faded because. The early enthusiasm, what does enthusiasm mean? What does enthusiasm mean? Yeah, like excitement, right? Yeah. So excitement. So I'm going to define, so the early excitement. We need to know what these words mean so we can finish the sentence. The early excitement for war soon faded. What does faded mean? What does it mean if something fades away? Transition? Is that what you said? Changes? Yeah? Yeah, that's part of it. Fades is it, yeah, can change, and usually it changes by disappearing. Disappearing, good. Yeah, or going away. So I can say went away. Okay, so the first part of the sentence, and please write these down, you guys. Please write those down. Yeah, please write those down so you know what we're talking about. Okay, number one, and I just defined this one is excitement. So the early excitement for World War I soon went away or disappeared. Okay. The early excitement went away because, so we want to know why. Why did people were excited at the beginning, but not anymore? Why? So we're going to read setting the scene. Here we go. So I'm reading setting the scene. Here we go. The Great War, as newspapers soon called it, was the largest conflict in history up to that time. The French mobilized almost 8.5 million men. The British, 9 million. The Russians, 12 million. And the Germans, 11 million. And mobilized means they got together. So that's how many men they were able to get together for fighting. But for those who fought, the statistics were more personal. 1 out of every 4 men who went out to the World War did not come back again, recalled a survivor. And of those who came back, many are maimed and blind, and some are mad. Do you know what maimed means? Injured, right? Blind, you can't see. And what does mad mean? They're saying not mad, no está enojado. It's more like crazy. They went crazy, like they had mental health problems because of war, okay? Okay, the early enthusiasm for war soon faded. You think we're about to answer our question or finish our sentence? There were no stirring cavalry charges, no quick and glorious victories. This was a new kind of war, far deadlier than ever fought before. So let's read that paragraph one more time because we're trying to finish this sentence here. The early enthusiasm for World War I soon faded because, so why were people no longer excited about war? The early enthusiasm for the war soon faded. There were no stirring cavalry charges, no quick and glorious victories. This was a new kind of war, far